Good morning, third graders. Today we are going to start our study of area. So this whole unit we've been talking about measurement and data. And now we're going to learn how to measure something inside of a space. When we're talking about area, we're talking about the amount of space inside of an object. And this is a flat space. So for example, I could have a brownie pan and I see the area, the amount of space in the brownie pan. When you're on the soccer field, the area would be the amount of space that you play on. Same thing if you are gardening. The area is the amount of space inside of your garden. So think about an area as being inside. So in this picture right here, you see we have a rectangle. Now, if we are to measure the area of this rectangle, we would be figuring out how much space this takes up. Now, area is really important, and we do use it a lot. When you are looking at floor plans of your home, you can see the area, how big a space is. You could talk about the area comparing classrooms. So the amount of space inside something. Now, we are going to be learning the formula to find area. Area equals length times width. So when we're working on this, when you need to find the area, you need to know the length and you need to know the width, so how long something is, how wide something is, and that's how you can figure out how big or small your area is. Now, you can do that sometimes by looking at the little square units of a space. So for example, we have this same rectangle here that's brought down here, and we are going to count the area. Now, if I just saw this shape, I wouldn't be able to tell you the area. But because now it's divided into squares, and I can easily find the length, how long it is, and the width, how wide it is, then I'll be able to tell you the area of this rectangle. So let's see. First, I'm going to count how long this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The length of this is 5 square units because that's how long. The width of this is 2 square units. So if the length is 5 and the width is 2, that tells me that area is length times width, and 5 times 2 equals 10. Let's check our work by filling in all of these square units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome, that's exactly what we got here. So we could just count these square units in order to figure out our area. So remember, we said 5 was the length, 5 was how long this square is. 2 square units is how wide it was, so 5 times 2 is 10. And today we're able to just count these boxes. So what is a square unit? Why can we just count these to find our area? Well, a square unit is used to measure area. Square units help us figure out how large the inside space is. So right here we have a square unit, and that can be determined by your problem. But you're also going to see things where the unit changes. You could be working with centimeters, you could be working with inches, you can be working with feet, with meters, but you always want to make sure when you are solving your problems that you are looking to see what your unit of measurement is. So a square unit can be any square, and notice a square, remember, is the same on all sides, it's equal. So when we're talking about a perfect square, a square unit, it is a square, and remember to look at what unit you're working with. So here's an example of a square inch. So we know that the length and the width are the same in a square. We're going to write that. Think of the word square. Squared means we have a square here. So when we write that, we're actually going to write the unit squared. So when you have a 2 like this, it means squared. So let's check out this square unit. This square unit right here says it's an inch, and we see that by the units here. That means an inch, and we also see it here. Now let's see. 1 times 1 equals 1. We also see that there is just one box. So the area of this right here is 1. We're talking about inches. And it's squared. We have a square, so we're going to put our little 2, squared. You can also try to remember it as when you're finding area, you're finding length times width, and that's 2 things you're finding. You're multiplying these squared. Let's do the same thing with this smaller box. Now this box is smaller because notice it is just one box, which means that the area of this squared unit is 1, and our units are centimeters. So we have one box, it's in centimeters, which is the units, and it is squared because we are looking at a squared shape, and squared means 2. Remember, you can try to remember that as length times width is 2 things, so we put our square here. Now, for today, you're going to be seeing some rectangles, some squares, and some irregular shapes, but all you have to do is count the square units to help you find your answer. So let's see. This one tells us its area is 6 units. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our area is 6. We're going to put U for units because we don't know what the units are. It doesn't say. Squared. If it said centimeters, it'd be 6 centimeters squared. If it said feet, it would be 6 feet squared. But it doesn't tell us a specific unit, so we're going to write units squared. This one says it has 9. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the area of this square is 9 units squared. Let's try one more. This is an irregular shape. It looks different. It's not a perfect square or a perfect rectangle because we have this outlier here. This guy's just hanging out all by himself. But it still is part of our shape's area. We can't just pretend that it doesn't exist. So let's see. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Our area is 7. We don't know our units, so we're just going to write units. And area is always squared because we're always multiplying the length and the width. So let's go back to that garden idea. Remember we said if we are planting a garden, we need to find the area of our garden. So here we have a beautiful garden with all sorts of pretty flowers. Our job is to find out what the area is of each of these flowers. So we have one big garden, and we could find the whole area of the garden. But in the garden, there's different sections. So let's start with daisies. I see that the daisies are here, and I can use my plot to help guide me. So I'm going to color in this area for daisies. And let's see how many square, and notice we're talking in feet because each of these units is a foot. Each little square is representing a foot. Is that the size of the foot right here? No. But if this were our actual garden, it's representing a foot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The area of the daisies is 8. Remember, we were talking about feet, and we're always squaring areas. We're always going to square the areas. So this is 8 feet squared. Let's do one more. Let's do roses. So here are our roses, and I'm going to shade this in to help me see it better. And let's see the area of the roses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the area of the roses is also 8 feet squared. Remember, we counted our boxes. That's 8. Our units is in feet. Now remember, this isn't a foot here. This is a very small, but in real life, if we were to make a garden, it would represent a foot. And squared, because you always square your area. Now you can break that up But someone might ask you, what is the whole area? So then your job would be to add the area of the geraniums, the area of the daisies, the carnations, the marigolds, and the roses. You would add all of these together to find the area of the whole garden. So good luck today, guys. You're going to do great. Remember a few things. When you're looking at area, remember your units are always going to be squared, and see what kind of unit you're working with. The other thing is the area is always representing the shape or the space inside of the square or rectangle or whatever figure you're working with. Good luck today. You're going to do great. Bye.